have an interesting sense of humor. It can be wrongly interpreted and come across incorrectly. And here's a story for you all. Well, I'm looking yellow. For a change of pace, this video is starting with Late Night Cocktail Cam. It's about midnight on the very final night of my cruise here on the Costa Luminosa. It is extremely windy outside. We're cruising through a storm. It's raining, it's windy, and there's waves, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be too bad. And I mean, there are so many videos on YouTube where the thumbnail is like looking out, like the thumbnail that I am going to post for this video, I'm sure, where it makes it seem like it's like a horrible night at sea. And, you know, it's not always sunny on the ocean. There are storms on the ocean, and sometimes you feel the movement of the ship. But, you know, there's these videos like cruise ship in a bomb cyclone, cruise ship in hurricane winds. And I think, yeah, there's wind, there's waves. The climate does not stop at the coast. Anyways, it's windy, it's loud, the ship is rocking and rolling just a little bit, and I think I'm going to be fine. And it's actually the first time that I felt any motion of the ocean on this cruise at all. And I'm laying in bed here, just really winding down for the night, and thought, okay, before I go to sleep, I need to tell you at least about what happened today and show you some things. And recently I got a comment. I was laying in bed like this. Somebody wrote something like,
"Morgan, have enough decency and respect for your audience to put a shirt on before you press record."
And I thought, really? My naked shoulders are too much for you? Should you even be on the internet? I managed to randomly play some ping pong again today, some table tennis with some people who were playing up there on deck 10. I walked past and asked if I could join in, and I got to play a little bit. And I'm really kind of getting into table tennis, and I'm trying to figure out how we could get a table tennis table in our apartment, or how I don't know. It's like, it's actually good training for normal tennis because there's a lot of hand-eye coordination, and you can sort of think of the same kind of strategy situations. And I forgot to give you an update about this disco dude, the guy who got into a pushing and shouting match in the discotheque, like on the second night. I talked about that in another video. He's still on the cruise, so he did not get kicked off the cruise, and I think that that's probably correct. I really don't want it to seem like I'm condoning any kind of inappropriate behavior. I hope that it doesn't come across like that. Hey everybody, I have to pause the video here and just give you a little bit more of a clarification now that I've had some time to think about it, because as I'm editing this together, I realize it sounds like I'm trying to defend this guy, and that's not, I guess that's not really what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to provide a little bit more information to put his actions in a different context. And I'm just going to go out and say it. After seeing this guy later on the cruise, watching him walk around, watching him talk to people also during the day, also watching him try to swim in the pool, I'm pretty sure he had CP, perhaps. His mobility was impaired. And the reason that I'm telling you that is because I think that a lot of times people with CP, people think they're drunk because they're kind of stumbling around, like drunk people do. So perhaps the night in the disco, he wasn't even drunk at all. Who knows? Also, the way that he spoke was also during the day a little bit different, a little less clear than I speak. And he did have hearing aids in both ears. So I'm just trying to say this guy has struggles. Like I said, I'm not saying that that means it's okay to do what he did on the dance floor. It just, I guess what I'm saying is maybe the proper way to address him would have been to just kindly ask him to stay on the other side of the dance floor, instead of basically getting in his face and pushing him around, because this is a guy who has a hard time, just kind of walking basically. And he felt good enough to get on the dance floor and then made a wrong move. And then all of a sudden people are pushing him around, and it wasn't a good situation. Anyways, like I said, I'm not trying to defend this guy. I just wanted to chip in and give a little bit more information about him. I've run into this guy a few times now on the cruise, and I don't mean like literally run into him. I just mean I've been in the same bar with him or sitting close to him in the restaurant or whatever, and I think he seems to be dealing with some kind of disabilities. I'm trying to think of the way to say this diplomatically without just completely describing him, but there are signs about his person that he is dealing with some kinds of disabilities. And I'm talking about perhaps some hearing disabilities, perhaps some mobility, some disabilities that affect his mobility. And he's also just not like a traditionally attractive older gentleman. Let's say it that way. And somebody in his situation already has cards dealt against them. You know what I mean? And then for somebody who's perhaps an adult who's able enough to function on his own and to book a cruise or to go on a cruise by himself, but still is dealing with certain, I don't know, restrictions. I don't know the right way to say this, but I don't think that he had any kind of ill intentions with what he did in the discotheque. And I just think it was a huge misunderstanding. And I just feel sorry for him because, like I said, he's probably about my age, maybe a couple of years older. And I would assume that from what I saw and what I've seen, that his life is not that easy. And speaking of uncomfortable, misinterpreted social situations, I mean, what can I say? I have an interesting sense of humor. It can be wrongly interpreted and come across incorrectly. And here's a story for you all. I was sitting up in the hot tub today. I was there sort of during the time where most people aren't there. And I was sitting there, and another gentleman came up to the pool area with his wife, and they went to the bar and got a drink. And then his wife went off to do something else, and he stripped down to a swimsuit and then came into the hot tub. And he stopped for a second, and I think he was either French or Italian. He non-verbally stopped at the entrance to the hot tub to ask me if it was okay if he join. And I said in English, sure, come on in. And then he had his cocktail in his hand. And as he was coming into the hot tub and walking over to the other side, I made the standard typical joke that so many people do. I reached out towards his drink oh, thanks, you must have brought this for me. That just seems like such a standard joke. And I thought that this joke translates into every language, into every culture, but this guy did not get it. He did not think it was funny. And he looked at my outstretched hand and pulled his drink closer to him, and then he looked over to the corner of the hot tub, and he's like, I'm just gonna put it down here, you don't have to hold it for me. But I'm just saying that I know what it's like to be in a situation where you think, okay, this is fine, this is fun, this is funny, and quickly realize,
okay, the other person involved here is not on the same page as me.
By the way, while we were sitting in there, 2 kids came into the hot tub from a family. It was a boy and a girl, and they must have boarded the ship today, because in the main dining room, they were sitting at the table right across from me. And up until this point, nobody had been sitting there. And I was so surprised because they seemed like little kids when they came into the hot tub while I was there. And in the main dining room, this young woman was dressed like Super Sandy from the movie Grease. Like, she literally had the entire outfit on with the painted on stretch leather pants, high-waisted leather jacket. She had high heels on. It's not like musical night or theme night or anything. And my opinion was she was dressed a little bit older than her years, and I just was surprised by that. I also wanted to show you my dessert tonight. Speaking of strange, inappropriate things, this is going to be the dessert that's going to get me banned from YouTube. But look at this thing. I mean, when I posted the thumbnail of the churro at Animal Kingdom, I was getting flack for that. But this, I mean, come on, this. And I'm not sure how I could take a picture of this without it looking like this, but there it is. It was kind of a spongy cake, and it was dipped in rum. It was okay. I wish it had some chocolate on it. Overall, the food has been fine. It's been better than fine. It's been good, and like I said, I want to cruise with Costa again, perhaps with Marcus, just to see some of the other things that are offered and how they are, but I don't know if things have just improved or if it's only on this ship, but the food has been fine. When I came back from dinner tonight, there was a situation here in my cabin. Directly across from my cabin is the crew area entranceway, and at the moment that I opened my cabin door to come into the cabin, some crew person came out of the crew door, and it created like this super intense wind vortex, and the door to my balcony flung open, and it was like a suction tube through my room, and it was so intense for a couple seconds that the do not disturb hanger thing on my door literally like fluttered off and went flying out into the ocean across my entire room. It looked like it was a port key, you know, when the port keys like shrivel and disappear in Harry Potter movies. It looked just like that. I don't know if it wasn't shut properly, like if it wasn't latched, and definitely the deadbolt up there was not in, but it flung open, and it's weird because that's a heavy door too. It was really intense. And I don't know if it's because it's so windy outside or just because I had the door open and then the crew area was open and then there's a difference in like air pressure or something. I don't know, but it was
intense.
And the final thing I wanted to tell you about is I saw 2 guest artists in the main theater tonight, and they were amazing. It was 2 like circus artists, 2 guys, and they did several different circus art forms, and it just was a really great show with great projections to complement it and utilizing the turntable on the stage and curtains and scrims and flying things and stuff. It was, for a guest artist show, it was really excellent. I enjoyed that more than I enjoyed the musical ensemble shows here on board. And I don't mean it because of the talent of the people in the musical ensemble shows. I just mean the structure and the content I found less enjoyable in the musical shows than I did this artistic show. But that's just me. That doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It just means I enjoyed it more. And my opinion is just my opinion. All right, everybody. It's the end of this cruise here on Costa. You've seen so many of these videos already about the ship, about the food, about the entertainment, about what has happened here on board. I'm curious to hear all your thoughts on them as always, so make sure you write me a comment before you leave this series. And I'm not sure what my next adventure is going to be right now. I have an inkling, and I think probably by the time this video goes online, you're going to know what that is, but there's still some things to get in place. And by the time this video goes online, hopefully they will be in place. But if it's not that, then the next one planned at the moment is the transatlantic on the Odyssey of the Seas. So you can look forward to that as well. Good night, everybody. See you soon.